What's up? Welcome in Hoge Jahns, the Kevin Fishbain version of Hoge Jahns. Welcome in. What's going on, Kevin?
What's going on? You know that scheduled day is like one of my favorite days of the year.
It's one of the days where I receive, let me rephrase this. I ask you how many questions during the days around the schedule build-up. Like how many?
Yeah,
we
text
text
a lot. Yeah,
but it's
we got to
mainly
plan
me
out our
asking.
fall.
It's mainly me asking you questions because I really don't follow it much.
Yeah, no, I'm locked in, and I think it's both a silly day, but it's also a fun day because I get like everyone's like, who cares? You already know the opponents, but no, this is how many people could sit there and really rattle off the Bears 2024 opponents, but when you know the schedule and you know the order and the times and the networks, and you can map out your fall, and you can do the
Book your
win,
hotel.
win, loss. You can kind of go through it. That's when it means something. That's when it's like, all right, it's almost football season.
It's here. Hotels are booked for the reporters. You know the deal. Follow us at Hoge Jahns. You can check out our merchandise at HoganJahns.com from our friends from Obvious Shirts. Kevin Fishbain and myself are at The Athletic, theathletic.com. My friend Adam Hoge is tending to family matters still in Minnesota. We wish him the best. He'll be home soon. This is our annual watchability episode. We'll call it that. You used to have your annual story on the schedule. Where you kind of rank your games in terms of what you want to see. We're going to take it to the podcast. So this is our schedule episode. We're going to go through things game by game, and then Kevin's going to have some fun with it. Sound good, Kev?
Let's do it.
All right, let's look at the schedule. Kent, bring it up for us. If you're watching on YouTube, I'm sure you know it. I'm sure you've seen it or you've texted about it. Let's go through this quickly. This is the Bears 2024 schedule. This is in Kevin's article on theathletic.com. So they open September 8th against the Titans, noon. If you're watching on YouTube, all times are in Eastern, but that's noon. Week 2, September 15th at the Texans, 7:20 p.m.
You want me to sorry, Johns, you want me to jump in with some fun facts here and there?
You want fun facts? All right, bring it up. What do you got?
We'll do some last time they met. Last time Bears played at Houston, week 1, 2016. Jay Cutler versus Brock Osweiler. A Texans victory.
I'm trying to think who was on that Bears team. Is that like Shea McClellan, like playing
No,
quarterback? No, that was a
that
different
was,
Bears era.
Yeah. I do remember. God, all I remember is Jay Cutler got sacked and either on the first play of the season or like a big play. And it was Bobby Massey's side, and it was Bobby Massey was like the big free agent signing of that group. Yeah. There's going to be a lot of references to 2016.
Wait,
You'll remember why we don't remember
fun facts here.
I got a good one for week 3.
All right, week 3, September 22nd at the Colts, noon. What do you got?
Matt Eberflus revenge game, first of all. Flus and several coaches, former Indianapolis coaches. Last time Bears played a regular season game in Indianapolis was when John Fox referenced the hot dog laden press box.
Now that is a fun fact.
Yes, it was because we all saw Alshon Jeffrey wide open on 4th down. Brian Hoyer missed him, and John Fox says it was easy to see that up there in the hot dog laden press box.
Oh, that was one of the breakout games for Cam Meredith too?
I believe so, yeah.
Before was his injury that year or the following year?
It's hard to keep track.
All right, week 4, September 29th. Rams, noon, Soldier Field. What do you got?
Nothing.
Okay. Week 5.
Oh, did you watch that video of Sean McVay yet?
Which one?
The Rams of McVay doing trivia. So they go through the schedule and they ask him, like, what was this play call when you played the 49ers in 2021? And he just spits out the exact play call. What happened? It's kind of wild.
That's why he's going to get a job on TV when he wants it.
Mm-hmm.
All right, where do we leave off? Week 5, October 6th, Panthers. Noon, Soldier Field. All right, moving on. Here's a biggie. Week 6, October 13th, in London against the Jaguars, 8:30 a.m.
Yeah. Last time Bears went to London didn't go so well. It was a fun trip.
For me.
Yeah. You and the Bears both suffered
It's
maladies that week.
nearly spit up my coffee. Look at the synergy there. I like the week 7 bye week. Gotta like that. Week 8, October 27th at Washington, noon.
Yeah, Bears, this is their third year in a row playing Washington. And which is a little bit rare. Third time in 6 years they're going to be at Washington. Also rare. And it's just
How
annoying.
rare is it if it's happened that much?
Well, I mean, it's like you don't see it like with other teams
Yeah.
very much unless you're in the division. And it's just like of all the stadiums we have to go to 3 times in 6 years, FedEx Field is very low on that desirability list.
Yeah.
Brutal stadium.
Yeah, far. Week 9, November 3rd. That is, right? November 3rd. At Cardinals. I know there was a debate about this one on social media. But week 9 is in Arizona, 3:05 start.
Last time Bears were in Arizona was 2018. I think that was really where you saw the defense was going to be something special. They had like a ton of turnovers late in that game. I mean, they almost lost. And I want to say that was the game where Eddie Jackson got a pick 6 taken off the board because Khalil Mack was offside.
Correct. Week 10, November 10th, Patriots, noon.
Yeah. Drake May. We'll get into that in the watchability rankings. I think this is the first time the Patriots have come to Chicago since the Mitch Trubisky Hail Mary to Kevin White. That was a 1 yard short of the goal line, 2018.
Is it? Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
That was a great game.
Lost that game 38-30. Yeah.
All right. Week 11, November 17th. Finally, the Packers, noon, Soldier Field.
Longest the Bears have had to go in a season before a divisional game in the Super Bowl era.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, that's right. That's a good observation. I didn't even notice that.
Yeah. Week 11, first division game.
All right. Here comes another one. Week 12, November 24th, Vikings, noon.
First stretch of 3 consecutive home games since 2014. And hopefully for the Bears' sake, this goes a lot better than that stretch. You'll recall back-to-back primetime games against the Cowboys and Saints were very ugly losses late in that season. Then you had a Jimmy Clausen starting against Detroit and the third loss of that stretch.
Thanksgiving, week 13, November 28th, at Lions, 11:30 a.m. Another Thanksgiving in Detroit with our friends. No offense.
You remember when you and I joined the beat, you joined in 2012, I joined in 2013, and one of the topics of conversation was how long it had been since the Bears played on Thanksgiving. It had been since 2004. Now, let's see. They played there 2014, 2018.
It's been a lot of Thanksgivings in Detroit. We had one in Green Bay. Green Bay had a great spread.
Yeah, it's been a lot of Thanksgivings in Detroit. I thought this was going to be the year, and it could still happen if Week 16 gets flexed. The Bears haven't played a primetime game against the Lions in 12 years. I'm talking like a night game. I thought this was going to be the year that I thought Week 1 was going to be Sunday Night Football, Lions Bears.
You would think.
That's what I just kind of. Yeah, it's a weird quirk because the Bears play primetime against the Packers and Vikings all the time, but never the Lions. All right, keep rolling.
Week 14, December 8th. Again, I know there's a debate about this one on social media, but this is in Santa Clara, technically. Bears are traveling to California to face the 49ers. We have a 3:25 start. Again, if you're watching on YouTube, you can see the Eastern times, but 3:25 locally for the Bears or Chicago time.
You can quibble with this, but in this story, I was asked to do who the best offense the Bears will play this year and who the best defense is. I said 49ers for both.
Lions maybe for offense?
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, there it is.
There it is.
So,
All right, let's keep moving. Scroll up again for me, Kent. All right, where we leave off. All right, still on the road. 3 road games in a row. December 16th at Minnesota, Monday night, 7:15 p.m.
2 fun facts for you here, Johnsy.
Okay.
You're gonna love these. 3 consecutive road games for the first time since in 16 years. 2008. Last time the Bears played 3 straight games on the road. Now, granted, you get the mini bye after Thanksgiving. This one's a Monday night game, so you get an extra day
Some space.
after the West Coast trip. But still, that's 3 road games in a row, including back-to-back games on the road against last year's NFC title opponents. This is the weirdest quirk. You ready for this?
Mm-hmm.
This is the 12th Monday night Bears game since 2016. 6 of them have been against the Vikings.
Really?
And the other 6 are just it's Eagles once, Seahawks once, Steelers once, Patriots once, Rams once. And then 6 times in 8 years, the Bears have played 6 times in 9 seasons, the Bears have had a Monday night game against the Vikings.
Sounds like the NFL knows they get ratings.
Somebody brought up a good point on Twitter. I think it was Jay Rigdon. Forgive me if I pronounced his last name correctly. It kind of makes sense if you think about it. Like the Bears just haven't been that alluring of a team from a competitive standpoint, but you want them on prime time. So instead of a Sunday night game, put them on Monday night against the Vikings. Like you can see why they'd be on there a lot.
December,
it's still a weird quirk.
Week 16, December 22nd, Lions, noon, Soldier Field.
Johnson, that could be a big game.
Mm-hmm.
That could be a really big game. That's all I got
fun
for that.
fact. That's okay.
That's my fun fact.
Week 17, day after Christmas, December 26th, Seahawks, 7:15 p.m.
How happy were you that the Bears did not get one of those Netflix Christmas Day games?
Man.
But I'll say this.
I asked George to pull some strings, so I'm assuming he listened to me at the owners' meetings.
You knew he did not want to play on Christmas. This is going to be an interesting. I mean, again, if the Bears are contenders here, you get the short turnaround. But here's the thing: you know this about Thursday weeks, right? Tuesday's always the big day. Tuesday's like just we're there all day on Tuesday, right? Usually in a Thursday week. That's Christmas Eve. So that's one of those things where the NFL just, these football teams, I'm sure they're going to love to they would love to let their coaches and players go have Christmas Eve dinner with their families, but they got a game to prepare for.
So we just talked about how there's a little break in there for the Bears because of the mini bye and then the Monday night game, but then you have game on the 16th, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 3 games in 10 days. I don't know how the NFLPA stands for this, but I mean, that's.
Yeah. I mean, I guess, again,
at this point in the season.
Yeah. If the Bears are in it, boy, are they going to love having that extra time off before week 18.
Yeah.
That could really be nice. But it's also not going to be fun to go from you got a short week from a road game, a road night game, and then you got to host the defending division champions, and then you got a short turnaround to host Seattle. Shane Waldron revenge game.
Week 18, TBD, Packers, ending again in Green Bay.
8th season finale against the Packers since 1998. In the previous 7, the Bears are 0-7.
Well, yeah. For a lot of reasons.
Yeah. Here's another fun fact. So I went through, Johnsy, every number 1 pick at quarterback since 2000. Nobody had more than 2 night games on their rookie year schedule. And I'm guessing, I didn't go through 90s and 80s, but considering the proliferation of night games, I'm guessing no number 1 pick at quarterback has ever had at least 3 primetime games his rookie year, and Caleb Williams 3 primetime games.
Well, I think some of that is the Chicago Bears too.
Yep.
And
But
how
I
about
even went back to the New York Giants in 2004. Now Eli didn't start all year, but they had Kurt Warner, and then it went to Eli. Only one primetime game for that New York
really?
Giants team.
Okay.
Yeah. But again, you're right though. It's the market, it's the expectations, and also this guy's a superstar. Everybody already knows who he is.
Yeah. How about this fun fact from Joe Person? The Carolina Panthers are the only team in the league without a primetime game. So how about that for last year's
Yeah.
first round pick?
Man, did there used to be a rule that every team had to play one Thursday night game? I guess that rule doesn't exist anymore.
I thought so.
We'd always get that Jaguars Titans game in week 2. But then Amazon took over the Thursday night package and they wanted good games.
I feel like cable would really help everybody watch a lot of these games.
Right?
Netflix, Amazon, the other network. It's a lot. It's a lot. Before we go to your watchability rankings, can I give you the list of quarterbacks that the Bears are facing this year real quickly?
Yep.
All right, week 1, Will Levis. Week 2, C.J. Stroud. Week 3, Anthony Richardson. Week 4, Matthew Stafford. Week 5, Bryce Young. Week 6, Trevor Lawrence. Week 8, Jaden Daniels. Week 9, Kyler Murray. Week 10, Drake May. Week 11, Jordan Love. Week 12, J.J. McCarthy. Week 13, Jared Goff. Hold on. Do we have a... Nope, we're okay, right? Week 14, Brock Purdy. Week 15, J.J. McCarthy. Week 16, Jared Goff. Week 17, Geno Smith. Week 18, Jordan Love. Your thoughts?
Well, you don't have Josh Allen. You don't have Lamar Jackson. You don't have Patrick Mahomes. You don't have Joe Burrow. You don't face trying to think of other guys who would be in that elite upper echelon category that you miss out on. No Dak Prescott if you want to put him there. It's probably a little generous. Jalen Hurts, Justin Herbert. And then a lot of young quarterbacks, right? So you get Jaden Daniels, Drake May, Anthony Richardson. I mean, I think I'm interested to see, Mike Sando when he does his quarterback tiers. He will do who's got the most favorable schedule based on opposing quarterbacks. And I'm guessing the Bears will have a decent one just because of all the young quarterbacks they play. The flip side of that, Johnsy, is how good is Jordan Love? How are we going to be talking about Jordan Love in a, 6 to 8 months?
I'd even put Trevor Lawrence in that same conversation. Like, how good is
Yeah.
Trevor Lawrence, right?
Yeah. I mean, yeah. So I'm going on the other side of this too now. Anthony Richardson can be there by the end of the year.
So to your point, the second year quarterbacks that the Bears are facing, it's Will Levis, C.J. Stroud, Anthony Richardson, right in a row, right off the top of the bat, right? And then you have Bryce Young in week 5. And then, I like this. You have Caleb Williams versus Jaden Daniels, Caleb Williams versus Drake May, and then Caleb Williams versus J.J. McCarthy twice. Kind of cool.
Yep.
Kind of cool.
Yeah, there's some good quarterback matchups. We'll get to the watchability in a second, but I usually do. I still had it like marquee opposing quarterback, and I went more like marquee, like a name that kind of sticks with people, or a guy that's very good. You could argue that everybody is a marquee opposing quarterback, just the way that position has become.
All right, you want to explain your watchability rankings? Kevin has done these for. This is the first time in podcast form, though, right?
Yes. I decided this is year 11. I decided to move it to the Hoge Jahns podcast. I've shifted the burden of editing, I guess, onto Kent as opposed to our editor Mike Sansoni, who had to usually edit the story. But yeah, so I like to have fun with this. This is very arbitrary, very subjective. But I'm thinking about what games are you kind of most excited about for, just as a fan. I think primetime games or Thanksgiving game is always going to be up there when you're playing a previous playoff team. The Packers game is always going to be big. I made up a little extra category with the Caleb season debut because I do like. You'll see week 1 against the Titans is like a little low, and that probably should be higher. But it's the Titans. Like, what what are you gonna say about that? So yeah, how do you want to go through from the top to bottom here, Johns?
I'll follow your lead, man. It's your show.
Yeah. So I mean, the Thanksgiving game against the Lions, you got Thanksgiving. You're playing a division champion from last year. It's a division, and it's your division foe. I think that Texans game, I put that as like the must-watch game. It's right away in week 2. Sunday Night Football is the premier stage in this league. You're getting CJ Stroud. You're getting a playoff team. You get Stephon Diggs, Will Anderson, Danielle Hunter. I think there's a lot to like about that game. Then you got the Monday night game against the Vikings, which gets a boost because it's Monday Night Football. Like, that's going to be big on watchability. Those back-to-back Packers games. Oh, by the way, I break ties based on games I'm most excited about. I think that week 18 game is going to end up having more at stake. Even if the Bears are like, it'd be like last year. Right. It'd be flirting the playoff spot. They could have a opportunity to knock the Packers out. Who knows? Then, I added that Caleb season debut to move the Titans up. I mean, you could sit there and argue 49ers should probably be higher because you're talking about defending NFC champions. It's a late afternoon kick, which I think is kind of fun for people. Then you get that Lions home game, which you and I talked about. That could end up being the biggest game of the year in week 16, depending on how things go.
Yeah, I'm looking at it right now. Yeah, potentially move that one up, depending on the importance of that game.
The Seahawks game, the only thing I can say about it is it's a primetime game, right? You could have a little fun with Shane Waldron revenge game. Oh, by the way, I did add 1 point to week 1. That's your Kevin Byard revenge game.
Okay.
Hey, he did the eyeballs emoji.
He did.
So Rams, I still call Matthew Stafford a marquee opposing quarterback. I think Sean McVay, LA, I think that's still a big matchup. The Jaguars London game, you could argue, should be higher. I don't know how many points to give the London early morning kickoff. It's cool. It's a standalone game. I think in-person watchability, that's maybe number 1.
But many won't be there.
Right. You got that's the home game against the Vikings in week 12. At Commanders, I think so. All these games at the bottom here, they're all kind of similar. I added a new category. I think, as you said earlier, being able to talk about Caleb versus Jaden Daniels is kind of fun. Montez Sweat revenge game. Patriots, you got Drake May. Week 3, the Colts. I don't know. What else can you say about the Colts? Anthony Richardson might be a marquee opposing quarterback. Yeah. You got Flus revenge game. I don't know. Cardinals, Bilal Nichols, Justin Jones revenge game. That's not going to grab a lot of headlines. I think the Cardinals are actually like sneakily one of the more improved teams on this schedule based on what we thought they were in December. When you look at Marvin Harrison Jr. and some of the additions they made. And then, yeah, week 5, if your team doesn't have a single primetime game, like, what can I say about the Panthers? Like, there was probably a world that exists where you could have fun with the Caleb Williams, Bryce Young matchup, but yeah, so there you go. That's the 11th annual watchability rankings, now a Hoge Jahns exclusive.
When you go back to that week 2 game against the Texans, a 10-point score for you. If you're watching on YouTube, you could see Kevin's full watchability ranking with the
very scientific
system. Yes,
very scientific. It's an
it's
algorithm.
all broken down. 5 points, 3 points, 3 points, 2 points for different categories. Please check it out on YouTube. How often do you think we're going to hear in the build-up to that Texans game, especially since it's a primetime game, like CJ Stroud saying that the Bears should have stuck with Justin Fields?
Oh,
now I know why he did it. That's his guy from Ohio State. But just in terms of
topic.
Yes, conversation topics, storylines.
Ooh,
questions asked to players, like that's going to come up in conversation. That's going to be written about. That's going to be a story in print, online, and broadcast on the radio for that game, right? Like, can't you just envision that?
Yeah, I mean, he's going to be asked about it, and you're also going to have the conversation of CJ Stroud of 2023 is what is the Caleb Williams bar to get there. Yeah, that'll be interesting if he goes there and has that conversation. I imagine he won't say anything, but yeah, that could be fun. Oh, you know what? We didn't get into the preseason schedule for obvious reasons, but I do want to know. Do you want to talk about this right now, or you want to
Go
keep
ahead.
going through
Go ahead.
watch? So you got the Hall of Fame game. By the way, NBC is probably on the phone, Matt Eberflus being like, just have Caleb Williams take a snap. He doesn't have to throw it. He could take a knee. You know they're just going to beg him to put Caleb in the game.
Mm-hmm.
The Bears probably won't. I wouldn't. But then you've got at Buffalo, home Cincinnati, at Kansas City. Okay, they're not gonna be facing Josh Allen, Joe Burrow, and Patrick Mahomes, but those are three of the best teams in football. Their backups
Are
are
good
good.
players.
And I think we saw this a couple years ago when the Bears played the Bills in the preseason. You know what it was the year that Mitch was with the Bills and just sliced and diced through the Bears defense. And you saw how deep that Bills team was. And I think that you could get a little bit of a litmus test of where the Bears are at going against really well coached teams that have been to the playoffs consistently and have just a deep roster in those preseason games.
I don't care how vanilla you think it is. Caleb Williams needs to get some preseason action because he's going to be playing in the regular season. There's no simulated Matt Nagy games. There's no reason to hold these guys out from the preseason. Caleb Williams needs to play. I'm not saying he's got to play a full game, but Tom Brady used to play a lot in the preseason. Like, these guys got to get ready. And if he's going to be your starter week one, come up with a plan. I don't care how vanilla you think it's going to be in the preseason. He still needs to get a feel for the speed. He needs to get a feel for the cadences. He needs to get a feel for everything that Shane Waldron kind of wants to do. And I get it. You're going to limit some things, but he's got to go through some of it. It's a different speed than practice, and he can be hit. Like that kind of matters too. And he can't be afraid of him being hit because he's going to be hit. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's got to practice with the feeling that he could get hit. It's just different. That'll speed him up a little bit more.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be a lot, but yeah, give him some series. I mean, that'll be a huge talking point come August. CJ Stroud, he didn't play very much last preseason, did he?
I'm not sure. But all plans are different.
So here's our scheduling quirk. So the Bears have 21 games on their schedule because of the Hall of Fame game. Okay. They have 12 of those 21 games are away from Soldier Field. That might be that's got to be the most in football. And I know they're not traveling the farthest distance of all the teams. But if you think about it, when you have 9 home games, you get 2 road preseason games. And then you get the addition of the Hall of Fame game. And oh, by the way, one of your home games is going to be in London. So now you have 9 regular season games away from Soldier Field instead of 8. And you have 3 preseason games away from Soldier Field instead of 2. So normally the Bears should have had 10 road games. They will have 12 this year. So this will be a big challenge for the Bears kind of support staff and all the things they have to do and also 2 of those road games in the regular season are on the West Coast. So it's a lot. It's a busy schedule.
You want to talk about predictions? Now you have the Bears going 9-8.
Yeah, okay. I have to confess something. I didn't do like a
game by game.
Yeah, I think if I went game by game, I probably would get to 10-7 is my guess.
Ooh.
Do you want to do it right now? Do you want to go game by game?
All right, fine. Bring it up. Let's do it. We usually do this anyway. Pull up the schedule again, Kent.
I feel like I'm not gonna. I want you to do this because I'm just gonna stick to 9 and 8.
Okay.
I just think they're gonna be a 9. They're 9 and 18.
All right.
But I think you're gonna get to double digits if you like to think through these opponents.
Week 1, Titans win. I gotta actually keep tally of this.
Yeah, because you don't want to get to 2018 Hoge or 2019 Hoge on here.
Well, 2019 Hoge had every reason to be excited about that. He really
that's
did.
fair. Yeah.
He did. All right. Win. Talk me out of ones if you don't think there'll be victory. I'm gonna say week 2 loss.
Hater.
I'm gonna say week 3 win. I'm gonna say week 4. Like, this is one you could talk. Sorry. Week 1 Titans win. Week 2 tight at Texans loss. Week 3 at Colts win. So we have week 4 Rams at Soldier Field 1 p.m. or noon.
So here's you want to know why I'll say loss?
I'm going to say loss too, but go ahead.
That's a Sean McVay win. That's where you give the dub to McVay.
Week 5 Panthers win. Week 6 in London against the Jaguars win. So at the bye week, I have the Bears at 4-2.
Can I interject with some breaking news, Johns?
Okay.
For the first time in the history of the Hall of Fame game, it will be broadcast on ESPN ABC.
Caleb Williams is definitely playing in that game.
The 2024 Hall of Fame game, 8 p.m. Eastern on Thursday, August 1st, will be broadcast live on ESPN ABC. In the Hall of Fame game's 52-year history, this marks the first official broadcast on ESPN. ESPN Deportes will carry the Spanish language telecast of the game.
George McCaskey, you don't want Hard Knocks?
Troy Aikman, Joe Buck, and Lisa Salters will be there.
Hello, George. You don't want Hard Knocks? Yeah. Do us a favor and play Caleb Williams for just 4 snaps in that game, please. Thanks. Yep. That's it. 1 series.
All right. So the Bears are 3-2 heading to London.
No, 4-2. 4-2.
You gave them the win in London.
I gave them the win in London.
Okay,
yes,
so they're 4-2 coming out of London.
Yes, they're 4-2 in their bye week. All right, week 8, October 27th at Washington. Win. Oh boy. 5-2. All right, week 9 at Cardinals. I'm gonna say loss. I don't like that loss, but I'm gonna say loss. Week 10, Patriots at home, Soldier Field. Win. So heading into this Packers game, I have them at 6-3. All right, week 11, November 17th, Packers, Soldier Field, loss. Sorry. Week 12, November 24th, Vikings, Soldier Field, noon, win. Sorry, JJ McCarthy. Still, 3 games over 500 now. Thanksgiving, week 13, November 28th, at Detroit, 11:30 a.m. Central Time. I'm going to say loss. Week 14, December 8th, at 49ers, 3:25 Chicago time. I'm going to say loss. Week 15, December 16th, at Minnesota, primetime game. Win. All right. What else we got here? Week 16, December 22nd, Lions, 1 p.m. Sorry, I keep saying Eastern time because it's on my screen here. So noon. Win. You could easily talk yourself into 10 wins here.
Mm-hmm. What's your record right now?
My record is, hold on, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I'm at 9 wins already.
Yeah, and then this week 17, that's your 10th win.
It is.
And that wasn't that hard.
Yeah. I'm gonna put them at 10-7.
And
All
I
right.
don't think that's
So
I don't think that's outlandish when you look at the opponents.
Week 17, December 26th, Seahawks win. Week 18, TBD at Packers. Loss. I actually think the Bears might get the Packers once this year, but I think that like every year until it actually happens, like consistently, I'll get there. But I did 10-7. You're right. And I think that would be considered a significant step in the right direction.
Yeah, I'll say. If they, what did I say? If of number 1 and number 2 quarterbacks drafted number 1, number 2 overall, CJ Stroud was the first one to win 9 games since RG3
See, I think
and Andrew Luck.
This is where the situation that Caleb Williams is joining has to be discussed a bit more because, again, the Bears aren't your typical team with the first overall pick. They're not. This defense against a lot of these quarterbacks should be very good, even against some of the better quarterbacks, like Jared Goff, one of the best quarterbacks in the league last year. 2 of the 3 of his worst games last year came against the Bears. 10-7.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Sylvie had 11-6, I saw.
11-6?
Yeah. I'm guessing our friend Bob Dabrowski's got
somehow 35-0.
35-0. They went on a barn. They did a barnstorming tour after the season and just continued to beat teams.
He's already into next season. All right. Wow. Who would have thought? Okay. Do you want to talk about before we get out of here? Anything else? Any other thoughts on the schedule?
No, I think it's you know, the funny thing, somebody asked me about the watchability rankings because I said I'm not going to publish the written one like I have the last decade. I'm just going to do it on the podcast. They brought up a good point. Well, they said, well, every Bears game is extra watchable with Caleb Williams.
Just in terms of, again, going back to the situation for a quarterback to come in and have not Patrick Mahomes, no Joe Burrow, no Lamar Jackson, no Jalen Hurts, like on his schedule. Like instead, he's facing the guys that were selected after him in the draft, who all went to worse situations than him, and plus some second-year quarterbacks who should continue to struggle. I think it all builds into the better situation that Caleb Williams has joined. Like to grow through a season like this, to not have the pressure of outperforming a Joe Burrow, a Lamar Jackson. Like I think that's important.
By the way, number 2 overall pick in 1999, Donovan McNabb into Philly. Big name, major market, 0 night games. Again, different era, right? Like there weren't, I think back then it was just Monday night and Sunday night. Now we've got
Every
Wednesday night games. I mean, yeah.
Every night.
But again, it just speaks to like this guy has more name awareness, you know, name brand awareness than I think any rookie quarterback since Andrew Luck. I guess Burrow had a lot, but that was a weird because Burrow was the COVID year, his rookie year, so that was a little tough. And Chicago.
I think some of these, let's call them home away crowds for the Bears this season, are going to be ridiculous. You know, London's going to be another home. Like, sorry, Jaguars. I mean, that's going to be a Chicago game.
Yeah.
I think they're going to travel well to Arizona. I think Bears fans will travel to San Francisco. Houston, why not? I think it's not the best road schedule. I think there's better cities to go to in general.
But those are easy cities to get to too. Indianapolis, you just drive. Houston, and there's a zillion flights. Washington,
California in December. I know
Yeah.
it's not exactly warm in the Bay Area, but be warmer than Chicago.
Hey, have
Hot.
you had any cicadas by you yet?
0.
Yeah, nothing here yet. Are you ready for them? Are your kids ready?
I feel like cicadas are like a yearly thing now.
No, man, this is the brood. This
This
is
is
the
the brood.
17-year brood. Don't
I've
2000 I remember 2007 pretty well. They were you were like you had to like sweep them off your driveway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember one vividly when I was a kid. So that would be, now I'm going to show my age.
Yeah. Good reminder that you're significantly older than me.
Yeah. I want to
So
say I
you would have
was
been
like
like 6 or 7?
6 or 7 and being at my uncle's for a family party and them just being everywhere. You know, the
Uh-huh.
random memories you have as a kid. But anyway, let's talk about, before we
The
get out of
video.
here, quickly, the Bears schedule release video. Kind of, what would you think of it?
So I thought it was good. I thought they put a lot into it, and I like the fact that they had a lot of player participation. I think that says like I don't want to jump too far and talk about like the culture of the team, but you got here you go: Jaquan Brisker, Tremaine Edmonds, T.J. Edwards, Kevin Byard, DJ Moore was a star. You had Braxton Jones,
Hey, that's Larry
um,
Mayer back there.
Larry Mayer, Lawrence Screeden, Cole Kmet, Tevin Jenkins. I think, and then you get Caleb and Rome at the end. I think that many players to take part in it is cool. Spice Adams, obviously. I'm a nostalgia guy, so I love I love those movies: Breakfast Club, Mean Girls, um,
Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
Ferris Bueller's Day Off. So like all those references were pretty cool. Kyler Gordon, another guy who was in it. Yeah, no, it was creative. It was here's my little like so Jake Johnson was kind of narrating and you got to listen
Chicago guy.
closely. Yeah, you got to really pay attention at the beginning to get some of the little references and digs and jokes about the teams on the schedule. And I felt like that was like a little hard to like process all that.
They did a good job of putting in some of their own staff members too.
Yes,
I don't know. I thought it was
there's
cool.
Kyler Gordon.
We're watching it on YouTube right now. A couple comedians in there as well.
Did you have a Razor phone?
I did. No, yeah, I had a
Ooh,
Razor black flip phone.
yeah.
Those were like the badass phones back then.
And
I
how
like
about
that Flus.
Flus?
I like that
Yeah.
Flus was in there. Yeah, yeah, starring role. But it was okay in terms of if I had to rate the acting. Like, I think Caleb Williams might be a natural at this in the future. Like, if all goes well, maybe an SNL, hosting experience. You think about all the other quarterbacks that were, natural at that. Seems to have that part of them.
This was also a bit of a Home Alone reference, yelling out Tevin, and he's alone in Soldier Field.
I missed the Mean Girl reference.
So there were a couple. When Kyler Gordon had his hood on, that was like a scene from Mean Girls, and he says like he doesn't even go here. And I think somebody had like, or maybe this was in one of the promos, like they had like a burn book. That was like a Mean Girls thing. I thought
So
Spice Adams doing the principal from Breakfast Club, that was good.
I wonder actually how many movie references they got in here.
Yeah, Tyreek Stevenson. Keep thinking of guys who were in it.
He was in there. Yeah, Ferris Bueller's Day Off, definitely. Home Alone, I missed that one, but yeah, the Tevin, um, definitely Breakfast Club, and definitely Mean Girls. There's got to be at least a couple more, right?
I thought the shots of Chicago at the end were awesome. The video what shows it? The video people, everybody who put this together, phenomenal job. Like just creative, and it looked great, and it was. I thought again having all those players and Flus get involved, I think is really cool.
I have an idea from the future if they're going to keep going down this genre. Do you know that Grease is based on a Chicago high school as well? Not too many people know that.
That's right.
Something to think
Did you
about. Creative team.
I'm actually okay with the Bears not getting to the level of the Chargers. I think I'm fine with that. The Chargers is just you can't beat that, like what they do.
Yeah.
It's just there's too much. There's too much going on there.
I think it's cool though they had this amount of player participation.
Yeah. Like just rattled off like 10, 12 players. And the guys you just drafted.
The New England Patriots also did a movie reference.
They did.
Goodwill
Yes.
Hunting and a little bit of the town at the end.
The town at the end. Yeah, that was I like the town part at the end got me. That was pretty good.
That's funny.
Yeah. The Falcons, did you see theirs?
I have not.
It was all like remember that video game? It was like NBA Street, like street
Yeah.
ball. Yeah. So it's like that. And you got like Kirk Cousins with like no shirt on and the necklace. And it was pretty the Falcons one was pretty cool. I think those are the only ones I've watched so far.
Yeah, I've only seen a few. All right. That's it. That's your schedule episode. I hope it was fun, Kev. You know the deal. Read us at theathletic.com. We'll be back next week. We have an open OTA on Thursday, I believe, right? Let's double check the schedule here since we're into schedules this week. We will be there Thursday. 11 a.m. House Hall. We get to see Caleb Williams throwing in person to DJ Moore, Caleb Williams, amongst others. And then we're back there on May 31st for an open OTA. But they're working there. There's already videos out of such things, of passes thrown from Caleb Williams to Keenan Allen. So pretty cool.
By the way, I had this thought, John. This is the theme of what we've been talking about, the schedule. If you want to go to training camp, you better get those when those tickets go out available. Like, this is going to be the most anticipated Bears training camp since that I can remember.
Since they would get 11,000 for Jay Cutler and Brandon Marshall.
Yeah.
Lines past the media dormitory. Remember those days?
Oh, yeah.
I felt like the last year of Matt Nagy there, you had big crowds, but the time had changed. So, right, we were in the morning.
Right.
So the crowds weren't in mass. Go ahead.
That team had high expectations, so there was a lot of excitement, but like, all due respect to Mitch, this is just different.
Yeah, Khalil Mack wasn't there yet.
Even the Fields excitement, like obviously a lot of people were excited to see Fields last summer at training camp, but you still this is just on a different level, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I'm ready for it. 10-7, Kevin. I have the Bears going 10-7. So be it. Playoff berth with that.
Yeah, that should get you in.
That should get you in. That's right. Expanded playoffs. Thanks for joining the show, Kev. Follow Kevin on Twitter at KFishbain. Follow me at Adam Jahns. Hoge Jahns merch at Obvious Shirts or at HoganJahns.com. You know where Adam Hoge is. You could read him, follow him on allchgo.com. That's it. We'll be back next week to talk about OTAs and football. Kevin, any final thoughts?
Thanks for having me. Thanks for allowing me to bring the watchability rankings to the Hoge Jahns podcast.
I think we're on to something. Maybe we should come up with our own video.
Ooh.
Sounds like a lot of work for Kent, though.
Yeah.
Because I can't do that stuff. I can act. I could take part in that, but that's about it. That's it. We'll be back next week. See ya.